Welcome back to the channel. Jack with Crichton Chronicles here with another first impressions video, and today we'll be talking about Star Wars Outer Rim from Fantasy Flight Games, in which it's a pick up and deliver game, action selection game, in which you're competing with other players to gain a certain predetermined amount of fame to become the most infamous or famous mercenary, smuggler, or bounty hunter in the galaxy, basically. So I had no idea really much about the game beyond it potentially being a reskin of Merchants of Venus. And while I do own Merchants of Venus, I have not opened it nor played it, so I don't know if it is or how it compares. But yeah, so I kind of went into it a little blind. I'm not a hardcore like Star Wars fanatic, but I like Star Wars. So yeah, I was excited nonetheless to try it, and got it from a friend for a good price, and yeah, played it twice, once separately with two different groups, and yeah, so I found it to be pretty easy setup. It's I got it in the background here. You've got the board, which is modular. There's a predetermined recommended setup, but technically you can randomize it. And then you've got just encounter decks, which are all random. The market decks random. You will get a ship. I think you can pick out of 2 ships or something. It has been a little bit since I played it actually, but and then you can pick a character. And the character element there's a little randomization, but it'll determine like what you start with and everything. And so your character will have varying abilities amongst one another and varying skills, which will be used later on for doing tasks and jobs and other stuff, maybe with encounters and everything. So a lot of that's fairly random, and so yeah, but it's really easy to set up, and it takes place over each turn's like 3 steps. You've got a planning step, and in that step you can move, gain credits, which is basically the currency in the game, recover, which if you have been defeated in a previous turn, then you can recover. You have no choice really, that's what you have to do, or a plan ability or planning ability. So a lot of cards will have an ability they can use that says use in the planning step, and so that's what you can do. Out of those, you can do only 1 action to choose from, so if you have to recover, you kind of lose out on all the other options because you have no choice but to recover. But then you have the action phase or step, and you can trade, although I feel like that's something they just kind of threw into the game. Neither group used it. I don't even know if we contemplated using it. There's always that whole thought of you might get something, but are you helping someone more? I don't know, that element. It's cool that it's in the game, but and it works. You have to be on the same space, which didn't seem to happen a lot anyway. But yeah, it's an option, and yeah, but nobody used it, so it is what it is. Then you've got the market. If you're on a planet, you can access the market, and there's various decks there. You got a bounty deck where you can look for targets. You got to hunt them down, find it. Out here, you'll have like contacts. You can't really see it. I do have, just offhand, I don't really go through the components, but I do have an unboxing, what's in the box video, and I'll link that down below if you want to see more close-up of all the different pieces and stuff like that. But yeah, so there's contacts spread out. It's all random as well, and so you can go and try to hunt down people and deliver them, or I think you can kill them too, but you get different rewards depending on what you pick there. And then you'll have the cargo, which will have either normal or illegal cargo, and different rewards for if you bring it to a certain location and deliver it. Gear and mod deck. Then gears like to help you as your character, so you have your character, and then you'll have your ship, and then the mods are for the ship, so they'll upgrade either your attack or give you abilities or such as that, yeah, that nature. So then the job deck, that's where you get your jobs. This is where I feel the most important is with the skills. So you'll have skills. You can get other crew members. That's also with the contacts, and that's like kind of later in another step where you can encounter them. But crew members, and you have skills. Some other things may give you skills, maybe some gear, but Either way, those are what you need to do to complete jobs, and it's very dependent on that. You can successfully do jobs without having any skills. So if you have none of the skill required for a job, you're unskilled. If you have one keyword for that, like piloting, then you're skilled. If you have two amongst you and your crew, how many other crew members you have, so it's all combined, then you are highly skilled. So that just determines like your dice rolls. And I think if you're unskilled, you need a crit. If you're skilled, you just need a hit or more. And highly skilled, I don't remember now, because I feel like skilled was highly skilled. It was just any symbol, because there is another random symbol on there. It's like an I. I can't remember now what that is for. Focus maybe or something. I don't remember. But yeah. So then you just need one of any symbol. So they're really important for jobs to have those skills. And then there's luxury deck, and that one is kind of a combination of a lot of the other different decks. So there might be some gear in there, there might be some ships, jobs, etc. They're just more high end, and so they're higher rewards, higher cost, but then you get better rewards for them. And I think all of them have like fame, which is what you're trying to accrue through the game. And then you have the ship deck, so you have your ship, which you can upgrade, but also you can upgrade to new ships. And so there's just a wide variety of ships in there, and there's a lot of the iconic ships throughout there that'll have like a base model, but then once you upgrade it, they become like the Millennium Falcon and such, or Slave One. So there'll be like the ability to get those ships and to upgrade them into their more iconic known counterparts in the Star Wars universe. So pretty cool. But yeah, so those are all the decks, and those are what you can access in the marketplace. I believe you can like discard one to reveal whatever, and that's a way to kind of shuffle through, and if there's nothing that you want, or you want to stop somebody from getting something, it's kind of like a very minor player interaction. But the other action in the action step is deliver, and that's with the cargo and all that kind of stuff, which I kind of went over. If you go to location and deliver, you get the successfully deliver, you'll get the reward. And then you have the action abilities, which are, again, on some cards, they'll have an action ability that you can use in this phase. And with this, you can do any amount of these at one time. So this one, you have a little more variety in what you can do. But again, like trade is kind of like barely used. Market is kind of, well, you got to be on a planet. Deliver, you got to, so it makes sense that you can have that, you can do any number of them if you happen to be able to do so. And then you have the encounter phase or step. I don't like to say phase, but step, which is you can encounter patrol. And so throughout the game, starting on the ends, you'll have there's 4 factions: the Hutts, the Rebels, Syndicate, and Imperials. So they'll each have a ship that'll fly around through the system with your characters while you're going around. And they kind of act as like potential obstacles. With each faction, you'll have, you can either be neutral, negative, or positive relations with them. So if you're positive, you can go right through them. Doesn't matter. Nothing bad happens. If you're neutral, you have to at least stop. And when you stop on them, like with the encounter patrol, if you are on that spot, you can fight it. But if you're negative reputation with them, you have no choice but to fight them as your encounter, or you have to encounter them anyway. So fighting the ships is a good way. Also, later on, level 2s and 3s will give you, as you destroy them, more will come out of that faction, and as they level up, they give you more credits or fame. So sometimes you want to encounter them just for that, or maybe it's a personal goal, or whatever. So yeah, it's just another option you can do that you might want to. If you get to level 4s, they're like indestructible. So if you're on negative reputation with them, eventually when those are out on the field, then you just want to avoid them at all costs. And they had an interesting, I like the mechanic with them. It's the one mechanic that we kind of got, one rule that we kind of got wrong, where in patrol movement is when you buy a card, the one that you reveal will have a little symbol of one of those factions, and that ship moves that many spaces closer to you. You can decide what path it takes as long as it's going towards you. We were playing it right at first, and then we thought that when we read it, because it was a little, I don't know, it could have been interpreted this way, was like when you bought it that you also move it. So we eventually, halfway through our first game, we were playing it right, but then we did it where you bought it, it moved, and then it moved again with what flipped up, and that just seemed like, wow, we were like playing this, like this will change everything, but it ended up we were playing it wrong at that point. But the second group we played it with, when I explained everything and was teaching them the game, and then we went through it, we determined that it was like, oh, well, it is just when you buy a card and that card flips up, the next card, that symbol, and that's when it moves, not the one that you buy. And it doesn't count if you discard a card, only when anybody buys it. So that was about one of the only main rules that we kind of messed up a little bit in the first time playing it. But yeah, it was kind of cool. That's how that functions with getting them. You can kind of use it in a way to, make some of the factions that other players might not be positive with, like block them a little bit, because they'll have to stop on that space if they're not. But again, very minor. There's like very minor player interactions in this game, I feel. But yeah, so so besides patrol, if you encounter your space, just means basically if you're on a planet, you got encounter cards. And they'll have different like storylines and different things going on there. If you're out in space, there's different, I think it's nav points or navigation points. Again, those are all going to be random. And and then you can encounter a contact. And that's what I said, we're out in here on the planets. There's multiple contacts, all random. And when you do that, you can encounter, that's kind of where like a lot of the other characters, like Chewbacca and like all these other characters come into play, where you can encounter them. You go through, there's I don't know if you can, I don't know where it's there, right there with the one. That's the data deck. And so there's a thick data deck and data deck, and all of those are like, a lot of those are with the encounters with, and maybe the jobs actually, but the encounters with the other characters and throughout the galaxy and stuff. And so when you encounter them, sometimes you might have to fight, sometimes you can buy them or hire them so they can go on your ship, and so it just depends on what's going on. But yeah, those are all randomized, and so yeah, it just depends, because again, sometimes the bounties will be one of those characters, so you're kind of going planet to planet and hopefully finding which planet they're on to uncover them and then engage them and hopefully capture them. So there you can engage a contact, and then you can encounter an encounter ability. I mean, like all the others, some cards will say encounter ability, and that's in this phase, because you, again, like the first plan phase, in the encounter phase, you can only pick one of those options or actions. So yeah, but encounter abilities is a lot of times when you do the jobs, and the jobs are, again, pretty much very skill reliant. So but that's a lot of times where you'd find the encounter ability. But yeah, basically just like the first to 10, well, 8, 10, 12, it kind of varies. You can pick beforehand. I think they recommend 8, I want to say, for the beginning, but 10 is standard, and then 12 if you want a longer game. But yeah, that's pretty much it. First to that number wins. And yeah, so first, I really like the theme of the game. If you're not really into Star Wars, I could see it being kind of okay-ish. It depends on if you like pick up and deliver games. It's not really my first choice of the style of game, but I like the theme. And I thought it was very thematic, just going around the galaxy. You're either getting bounties, hunting people down, competing with other people for picking up cargo, deliver places. And yeah, I just thought it really fit, and it was really cool to see all the characters you can be, and all that, throughout the Star Wars franchise, and then all the iconic characters throughout, and the story, and some of the events, and all that, and the ships and weapons and stuff. So it's all really nice. I feel like it just fits really well. But you know, if you like sci-fi, it would probably be okay. But if you like Star Wars, it would be a lot more enjoyable. If you don't, I don't see how. Yeah, I don't know. I could see it being very indifferent because again, it just depends if you like pick up and deliver games. But I don't know. The setup was really, I thought, really easy. We only got a few of the rules wrong, but generally it's probably rated. I think it's a midweight game, but I would say it's on the lighter end. I don't know if it's. I mean, personally, I might even say it's like a good introductory to like pick up and deliver and whatever. Maybe I know there's Terror Below or something like that. Is like I feel like that's a pick up and deliver, and that's like Tremors again. I don't much like the style, but I love Tremors, so I tried that out. So just like this, I like Star Wars, so maybe want to try it out. But yeah, and there's a wide variety. I feel of its randomness. Like I said, the board can be random. Replayability's got to be pretty high. I feel. Just with the characters you pick, and they all have the varied abilities, and then they have like in between there you do like a data card or whatever that kind of helps with the setup too, so you kind of have different stuff to begin with even then. And yeah, just all the different ships you can upgrade and everything else. But yeah, so and I want to say it took 2.5 hours learning it and playing it. So I feel like it would definitely be like more than an hour and a half, 2 hour if playing it and knowing what you're doing. So I thought the time was good. It does have a solo mode. I have not touched it, I guess, but yeah, so that might be something that if you're a solo player, you might want to check out. But yeah, I have not yet touched that, so I can't really comment on it. One thing I wish there was more player interactivity, but like, it's okay. Like, what's there is very minimal. You have to be on the same space. A lot of times it's trade. You can attack people, but it's only when they have like a bounty that you're hunting, which kind of led in the first game especially, which kind of made me really enjoy it. Was that a friend had Chewbacca, but I had the bounty to capture Chewbacca and hunt him down. And he had come to my space, I think to mess with me or something at a previous time, I believe. And so I happened to get the Chewbacca thing, and I was able to engage him. So the only way you can engage another player is if you have something like that, if they have a crew member, basically, that you want to go at. And so we had to do an attack phase and whatever. And so I basically stole Chewbacca from him, and not only that, I was able to successfully deliver Chewbacca to the destination, because I do think you can eliminate them, but you get more points and more fame and more credits if you deliver them and alive or whatever. So I delivered them, and with the money and the reward that I got, I bought the ship, which was like that happened to come up. That was like the foundation, the basic model for the Millennium Falcon, and then I upgraded that to the Millennium Falcon. And I just thought that was hilarious, and everybody seemed to have a good time with it. And so those moments, especially, like I said again, if you're like into Star Wars, those kind of things like mean more, you know, obviously, because you know the characters and the lore and all this stuff, even on a minimal basis. So it made it really enjoyable, and I had a fun time. And yeah, so personally, I just think that it was a good game. There is that replayability. I feel it's there. I just don't know how far along, like how many games, and like will it get tiresome or whatever. Now, they did just announce finally, because I guess it's been something people have wanted for a long time, a expansion, just that gen kind of thing. Fantasy Flights did. So I don't believe there was any information beyond that, though. So who knows how long down the road, but it makes me wonder, are they going to add more? It'd be very easy to just add more data cards. Contacts would be kind of rough because they're very specific ones that you're looking for, so I don't know what they would do with that, because each spot I think is taken by, just in case you get the job or you get a bounty or some kind of thing that needs the contacts with them. But yeah, I feel like there would be maybe they'll add a different kind of board, a different kind of mechanic. I don't really know. I'm kind of curious. It's always obviously easy to add more into the other decks, so who's to say, more characters, really easy. But hopefully they add like a different element. A lot of times they want to strive for that, especially if it's been so long and people have been wanting it for forever. That'd just be best if they did that. So I'm kind of curious. That just reminded me, there was one like kind of a thing that in games I love, there's like also secret kind of quests in a way throughout the encounters. So if you get it as a secret, then you wait, and if you meet the criteria, then reveal it and you get the reward or whatever. And I always like those in games. It kind of fell flat in this because you could lose them. So every time anybody played them or had them, if you get defeated, you like lose credit and you have to discard your secrets. So nobody was able, I don't think, if I remember right, was able to fulfill them. But it's still kind of cool that I'm glad it's in the game, because I always like secret goals, and I prefer if they are more like secret end game scoring, because then nobody knows how you're going to score, what you're trying to go for. I mean, when you do things, they can you can kind of deduce what they're trying to go for, or maybe you're getting faked out, who knows, because I know that happens. So, but I always like them, because then you can't like constantly just specifically block certain things, because you don't have any idea what they're going for. So that is an element I like in this. It's not endgame scoring necessarily, but it's still secret goals, which is kind of cool. But yeah, so anyhow, that is Star Wars Outer Rim from Fantasy Flight Games. I was a fan. I'll give it a few more plays and see if it maintains its magic with me and everything. So yeah, have you played Star Wars Outer Rim? If you have, what were your thoughts of it? Are there things, what did you like? What did you dislike? Would you recommend it to even people who aren't Star Wars fans? Because that's where I'd be kind of iffy about. I don't know. Like I said, if you don't mind sci-fi, sure. But if you have especially don't like Star Wars or don't like sci-fi, it's kind of like, is what it is. So, but even if you're not a Star Wars fan, would you recommend it to someone? And are you excited about the new expansion coming out from Fantasy Flights for it? And if so, what do you think is going to be included in it, or what do you think needs to be included in it? So, yeah. But anyhow, that's Star Wars Outer Rim, and those are my first impressions. And let me know what you think below, and thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Until next time, take care.